Hey y'all, it's Thursday, another episode of Late Night Vision Show, episode 381. We have one of the most anticipated thermal scopes reviews that we've had in a very long time. Many people have asked about this over the last several months. And to help me introduce the scope and talk about this and give our thoughts on it, the owner of Outdoor Legacy, Mr. Jason Robertson. What is going on tonight?
Man, I tell you what, this is an exciting review. I know that we say that a lot about different reviews, and I know sometimes you say they're anticipated. I do. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say this. This is probably, we're recording this now. It's late August. If something comes out between now and the end of the year, okay, forgive me. But for right now, this is probably going to be the review of the year. This
And I
is
and I want to say
the
something real quick. And I'm not
yeah.
saying this braggingly. I've got several rifles. Most people out there do. And on those several rifles, there's optics floating around on them. I've had this scope on a rifle for several months, and I refuse to take it off. I refuse to give it back to Jason. I'm keeping it. So
I think
if that
several
lets you know
months
anything,
goes back to like March or
yeah,
February. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, let's be very
yeah,
clear. Yeah.
exactly.
So we are reviewing today the Nocpix ACE S60R LRF thermal rifle scope. And guys, this is a really a big review because it is a very good scope, and we're going to jump into that. The first thing that I want to do before we do that, and guys, listen, I'll just tell you this: if you're new to this channel, we're going to show you footage out of the scope. We're going to talk about, we're not just going to read the specs. I am going to read the specs, but we're going to also talk about, the actual battery life that we got on bench test. We're going to show you video from the field of hogs, of coyotes. We're going to talk about who this is good for, maybe who it's not. This is a real field review. We've had these units now in our hands for 6 months, so we want to talk to you about it now, real quick, guys. One thing Hans mentioned there, he said, I'm the owner of Outdoor Legacy. We want to make this clear. The Late Night Vision Show is basically an extension of Outdoor Legacy. Hans is a salesman at Outdoor Legacy. Our other salesman, Garrett, that Hans and Garrett are here to test all these scopes along with me, to use these scopes, and then we sell them. We've got a full team. We've got ladies in the office. We've got a full warehouse staff. What we want to do when in Outdoor Legacy is we want to be different than some other places, maybe big box stores, maybe some other dealers, is we want to know about the product that we're selling you. We want to test them. We want to use them in the field. We want to be able to give you a real world answer of how they're going to perform, how they're going to compare to other comparable optics from the same manufacturer or other premium manufacturers. So if you're looking for a night vision or thermal optic and you need help picking something else, picking something out, and you would like to do business with Outdoor Legacy, make your purchase from us, we would love that. And we would be glad to help you, not just before you make the purchase, but after you make the purchase. If you buy a scope from us and you've got questions about it, we're glad to help you for as long as you own that optic if you purchased it from us. So outdoorlegacy.com, or you can call us at 877-350-1818, and we keep it simple. If you want to buy from us, we want to help you, and we're here to offer customer service to you. Scopes we've got in stock. If you order before noon Texas time, they ship out of our warehouse the same business day via free insured UPS ground shipping. So we're going to get them out to you. Now, let's talk about this scope. Again, Nocpix ACE S60R. The R stands for rangefinder, so it does have the laser rangefinder built into it. The price on this scope is $7,999, and you're saying it better be good. It's $8,000. Why are y'all so excited about it? And it's because of what this is. It is a 1280 by 1024 thermal resolution optic with amazing image quality. The scope is a 2-power base magnification. It's got a 50 hertz refresh rate. It is a sub 15 NETD rating. It's got a 60 millimeter lens. it is, I said, it's a 2-power optical magnification. It does go up to 12 power with digital zoom. Another thing that it has is it has ocular zoom. Now, this is a really, really cool feature that all of the Nocpix ACE rifle scopes have. It's something that we will talk about more, but it's essentially a way to zoom in on the display screen, and it makes it feel, you're zooming in, it makes it feel like the animal or the object is getting closer to you, but you're not losing a lot of image quality like you would be if you were using your digital zoom. Again, we will get into that a little bit more during the review. Field of view at 100 yards horizontal is going to be 77 feet. The detection range, detecting a human size target standing up, according to iRay USA and Nocpix, is going to be about 3,400 yards. Really, what you want to know is how far can you identify a hog or a coyote. We think in good conditions, in a normal, a mowed field or a grazed field or something like that, 600 to 800 yards is very realistic and conservative. I think that there's going to be people with thermal experience on a good night be able to identify further than that. And I think that there may be people who maybe the conditions don't allow it, maybe you don't have quite as much experience, maybe that 800 is pushing it. I think it just depends on the night, but I'd say 600 to 800 is conservative and very realistic, and further is possible. The display screen, this is one of the big things on this unit. It's a 2560 by 2560 resolution display, 1.03 inch large format AMOLED. That's a huge display. It's got all the normal color palettes on it, video recording, audio recording, smartphone app, picture-in-picture, all the things that you would expect. It does have the built-in laser rangefinder, and it is integrated into the 60mm lens. So Hans will show you that in a minute. It is not hanging off the side or the top or anywhere. It is in the lens, and that is a 1,300 yard laser rangefinder. It has got a USB-C to run external power or to charge the internal battery. Hans just completed a battery runtime test, and he got 3 hours and 15 minutes on the internal non-removable rechargeable battery, and he got 3 hours on the fully removable 18650 battery. Just to be clear, you do have to charge the 18650 battery outside of the optic. There's a charger that comes with it for that. So total run time in normal conditions, we got 6.25 hours, so somewhere around 6 hours again in normal conditions. Overall dimensions, 15.35 inches long, 3.5 by 2 3/4, weighs about 46 ounces. It has the full 5-year iRay USA warranty. That's a bumper-to-bumper warranty with their 5 business day turnaround time. Fully waterproof, submersible, 3 foot, 30 minutes. Rated down to -4 degrees Fahrenheit. Hans, why don't you do a walk around? I think there's a lot of things we need to get into in discussing about some of these features and things that I kind of glossed over here, but show them around the unit.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know if y'all can hear the thunder. It is flooding over here. And I had to mute myself earlier, Jason, because I had a cough and a sneeze at the same time. So
A cough and a sneeze
I don't know
thunder,
how that works,
man.
but yeah. Here's what the scope looks like, y'all. You've probably seen, you're familiar with the ACE models. It is a tube-style scope, which means it's going to fit well on any type of platform you put it on. AR-style rifle, bolt-action rifle, chassis rifle, you name it. It's air rifle, very popular now. Anything that you can put a mount on, rings, whatever. It mounts with a 30mm ring set. Now, it does not. If you look on our website, American Defense Manufacturing Recon Mount will not work with this scope. It is not tall enough. So it does come with a return to zero quick release mount in the box. So it does come with one, but the ADM Recon mount is not tall enough for this scope. It does also come with 2 flat top 18650 batteries. Jason already mentioned the the charging base that you can charge both batteries at the same time, the removable batteries at the same time. Comes with a rubber eye cup, comes with a bag to travel around with it if you choose to do so. But really, it's got a spring-loaded plastic lens cover, very nice. This fin right here on this little shark fin on top, that is your focus, your objective lens focus adjustment I don't know, tool, whatever you want to call it. But that helps you focus the optic really easily with one hand. It's not tough at all, but that kind of gives you a little bit more of a leverage on it when you're focusing it. It does have a 3-turret system. One of them, this one right here on the side, is where you charge your optic. That's got it turns, and when it turns, it opens up. You can put your USB-C cord in there to charge the optic. This other side is where your removable 18650 flat top battery goes into. It's got a button right there that releases the door, opens up, slide it in, positive side in first. And then the top is your menu button, turret dial that allows you to maneuver through the main menu. And then your buttons, probably your most important buttons right here by the eyepiece: power, record, laser rangefinder. We mentioned the laser rangefinder in the lens. I already showed it. I'll show it again. It's right there at the top. So that's where you're very nice and seamless, built into the objective lens. You don't even know it's there. And then also the big feature that really makes this scope unique is the ocular magnification. It goes from 2 power to 6 power ocularly, and that's by doing nothing than just moving this whatever you call this, Jason, whatever this dial, this rotating, whatever. That's how you move it from 2 power to 6 powers right there. Again, quick and easy. When you're on the rifle, it just takes one hand just to zoom in real quick. 2560 by 2560 display screen, and that's working in conjunction with the ocular magnification. Jason, I've talked about this scope so much, I think that I could recite all of this in my sleep, because we've talked about it on the phones for months and months. And I know that this review, Jason, that's the end of the walk around. Objective or diopter lens focus right here. I know this scope is not brand new, and people might be wondering, why are y'all just now doing the review? This thing's been out for months. So why don't you shed a little bit of light on that?
Yeah, and I should have done that early on in the show. Forgot to. Guys, I know it probably does seem strange that this scope has been shipping for 6 months, and or maybe more. And it's now we're doing the review. What's that about? We've told you Hans has had this thing on his rifle for I don't know how long. Garrett and I have been using them for that. So what's going on? We don't like to do reviews on extremely popular optics when they're not readily available. The reason is that it just builds frustration and demand for something that is not out there and not available. Until now, this week, we have never had one of these optics in our warehouse that was not pre-sold. And right now we have a very small amount. I got a decent sized shipment, and they all immediately went out the door. We got a few left over, and we're hoping that we're going to be getting some more. There's actually not been a shipment of these to the US since April. So between April and August, there were none shipped to the US. Don't know exactly what it has to do with tariffs, production issues, components. I don't know, but there was 0 delivered to the US. So they just haven't been available. And to us, it just seems ridiculous to go out and build demand for something that already has a whole lot of demand that people can't get. So we've done that before, and we've frustrated a lot of people, gotten some angry phone calls, and so we just decide until we can get a good supply of them, we're just not gonna review them, or at least think we can get a good supply.
Yeah,
so
it's always a bad deal. Yeah, it's always a bad deal when you do a review and they click over, and we always put, if you're wondering, the link to all this is going to be in the description of the video, but when they see the review and they go to the website and it's not there. And so, yeah, that's the whole reason why. Let's talk about what makes this scope so great, Jason, because when people call and I see in the notes of the call, when the girls send me the message, they're like, hey, somebody's calling about an S60R. Man, I get a big smile on my face, because like I said, I've used it so much that I feel like I can talk about this in my sleep. I'm going to tell you, what do you want to start with? You want to start with what we like and all that?
Well,
or you want to?
Yeah, I think you've already gone over. I was making some notes here and checked off some things in the walk around that I think you discussed. I don't think I have to go back in great detail. The laser rangefinder being built in the lens. This is
Yeah.
something that we're seeing now from manufacturers. We love it. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't even know that it's there. It is
Mm-hmm.
not something. Doesn't make the scope bigger or heavier. It's not hanging off the side again or the top. That's fantastic. We love that.
And when
So I think
the
that's
little brother to this, when we first started reviewing the Nocpix, like the H50R, wasn't that like one of the first ones announced that had it built into the objective lens back
that's correct. Yep.
October
It's
of last year? Yeah.
Yes. So this is new. This is
Yeah.
in the last less than 12 months that we've ever seen anything like this in a thermal rifle scope. So it's a big deal. We like that. I think that the display screen, the 2560 by 2560, that is something that is new in recent time. Again, we're seeing other manufacturers do that as well, but that is a very high resolution display, and it is a large, physically large display. So when you look in there, there's some optics that you can look into, and the display screen is a long ways in. It's what it feels like. You're looking down a long tunnel. You don't have that with this. And I want to make a quick comment. I don't want to go down a rabbit trail, but just because it has a 2560 display doesn't mean that the display is going to look large. You can have a 2560 display down one of these long tunnels. This is not this way on these ACEs. It feels like it's right there when you look at it. So we love that high resolution big display. I think Hans has said on this show, once you use one of these scopes, you get used to that. It's hard to go back to a normal size and resolution display. I think that the big deal besides the look, we've said it one time, the fact this is a 1280 by 1024. We're going to get to that. But I think another big deal is this ocular zoom that's on these ACEs. Again, I want to explain it real quick in case you're unfamiliar with it. Imagine that your screen is sitting right here and you've got a magnifying glass behind it. And when you start, you know, dialing that in, just imagine it's like a daytime scope. Okay, you crank it up and it zooms up, you're magnifying that. The same thing is happening, but you're doing it on that display screen. And we've seen some scopes like that before, a couple. But what I think is really exciting about this is that Nocpix has refined this. They're using really, really good optics to do it. So there is extreme clarity and very little distortion when you zoom in. Now, yes, you can zoom into that 6 power at 6 times, and you start seeing some grain from that display screen. But when you combine that ocular zoom with that 2560 display, it takes a lot longer to get, start seeing the pixels from that display. And the reason we think this is great is because it allows people to not have to use their digital zoom. And digital zoom is always majorly degrading to your image. There's just no other way around it. If you double your base magnification on this scope, go from a 2 to a 4 power, you went from a 1280 to a 640 resolution. Okay, now it's still a good image, but you paid for 1280. You want to use that 1280. I think that's where this ocular helps. Hans, I'm gonna change gears a little bit here, but I want to get your take on this because I know you do a lot of coyote and predator hunting. You at some tournaments. You still kill a lot of hogs, but you love predator and coyote hunting. And I know one of the concerns about this scope that we had before we even saw it was, dadgummit, it's only a 2 power. And we're not going to get into all the engineering specs of that. That has to do because it's a 1280, in a 60 millimeter lens, and it's harder to get that high resolution. I'm sorry, that high magnification with the high resolution sensor like that. But it's a 2 power, and it's going to be very, very rare for Hans or Garrett or I to recommend a 2 power optic to a predator hunter. But I think this could be an exception to the rule. Hans, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, as you said, as somebody that likes to hog hunt and predator hunt, I really love to call coyotes. Now, the areas that we hunt are Could be small fields to medium-sized fields, not anything too large. We've got some stretches that sometimes we can see a long ways. But one of the things that I think that you're correct, typically a coyote hunter wants to start about 3 power base magnification. But the reason why we make that recommendation is all centered around the fact that these scopes are using digital magnification. So that's why we're saying, that's why we're saying 3 powers, because you want to find the sweet spot in between enough base magnification to take a good long shot on a small target like a coyote can be, but also you want to still have somewhat of a generous field of view, so you don't feel claustrophobic, so you don't feel like you're missing a lot of things on the edges of you. Because if you're calling coyotes, sometimes from side to side you can feel a little bit blind, or like you have a blind spot, and that really can come into effect if you have something with a high base magnification and a narrow field of view. What this optic gives you, yes, 2 power. If it was straight digital magnification, you'd be like, oh man, well, if every time you bump up you're going to be cutting resolution. Ocular, the reason why this scope has kind of transcended predator hunting, coyote hunting, hog hunting, is because it has more usable high-end magnification. You can go from 2 power to 6 power ocularly without cutting resolution like you would with digital magnification. So you've got something that you can use in short range situations, long range. So what I would find myself doing is scanning on the 2x, and then if I was going to take a shot, I would just dial it up. It's not it's a lever here, so you can go up incrementally. You don't have to go from 2 to 6, that big of a jump up. It's a slide, so you can go incrementally up to whatever you want. And I would just kind of zoom it in just a little bit to whatever I felt comfortable with. And the good part of that is maybe I wanted to zoom in a little bit more, but I still wanted to keep a little bit wide field of view in case it took off running. I could do that with that slide ocular magnification dial. That is the key. That is the unique feature for this optic, is ocular magnification with a large 2560 by 2560 display. Those two features are critical working together. That's what makes the image so great, even when you're using 6 power ocular magnification. That, when you throw that in, Jason, along with the fact that it's a 1280 resolution scope, I think this makes it where you can use this in a lot of different situations. But for you coyote hunters that are, even if you're hunting in big open fields, what would it mean to you to be able to, like, okay, I'm going to jump it up to 6 power, take a shot, and then if I need to, I can slide it down to 2 power because I got coyotes running along the side of me that darted in real quick. I mean, that gives you so much flexibility that a lot of scopes out there don't have. And again, it's something that is useful. High base magnification is not the only useful tool for a coyote hunter. It's also having a wide field of view, or having enough space so you can make adjustments on the fly, because coyotes are not predictable. Just like hogs, you shoot and they just, especially if there's a group of them, they're going to scatter. So, they're darting left, they're darting right, they're coming in, they're running away. So having that field of view adjustment really is a big deal, y'all. I hate the word, I hate even saying it, game changer. So I'm not going to say that this is what it is. It has definitely, though, I like transcended because it makes me sound smarter. It is transcending what we normally thought we would recommend to a predator or coyote hunter. I'll say that.
Yeah, and I had a question the other day. A guy asked, would you say there's no reason now for something like the Infrared Outdoor, which is, again, this is the sister company to Nocpix, the Hybrid 75. That is a 640 high resolution 4 power optic that we said when we reviewed it, and we probably still stand by. It's probably the best long range thermal optic on the market that we've ever seen, period. And I told him, I said, no, I think there's still a place for that scope depending on the person. You talk to a guy that is in big, wide open country, maybe out west, and he says, I'm never, ever going to take a shot or get a coyote under 200 yards or maybe 250. I mean, something crazy. No, I think in those cases, everything he's doing is at a crazy long range.
Hmm.
Yes, go ahead. I mean, take that because in reality, this 2 power, yeah, he can go up to 6, but he's still probably going to be left wanting a little bit. I mean,
Hmm.
he's going to probably have to use the digital zoom. I think he can still make this scope work, but
Yeah.
I do think the native 4 power in some
Hmm.
situations is going to be good. I think there's still a case to be made for native 3 powers for a lot of
Hmm.
guys shooting longer range. But I think Hans's point is valid. This is the first scope that we've seen because of the fantastic image, the
Hmm.
sharpness, the crisp, the clarity, the long range ID, ID ability at the 2 power with the ocular zoom, with the 2560, with the laser rangefinder and the ballistic calculator. That's something I didn't even mention in the specs. It does have the ballistic calculator, which is a big deal now. A lot of people are wanting that.
Hmm.
I think it's just a heck of a scope. Now, I'll be honest, there's other 1280 optics on the market that are really, really good.
Hmm.
And I think that this scope, obviously, you can tell by the way we're talking, it gives those scopes a real run for the money. I think this is one of the big contenders. And I'm not saying it's the only scope that you should look at, but I can tell you, if you're looking at this kind of a price range, this needs to be on the short list.
Oh
And
yeah.
I get it that it's a lot of money, but
Hmm.
it's also realistically, without, and we'll say this, we'll probably pick a favorite, okay, when we do our best of shows for 2025. But without picking a favorite today, I would say this is easily in the top 3 thermal rifle scopes ever made for civilians.
Hmm.
Period.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
And you talk about price, $79.99. It's $10,000 less expensive than the iRay
first
RS75 that came out, a few years
two,
ago.
yeah, 2, 3 years ago. The first
The
1280 that
first
I rated,
1280.
first 1280 that anybody hit the civilian market with, yeah, was
Yeah.
$18,000.
So this is people may say, well, yeah, they're promoting it and they love it because it's $8,000. This isn't even the second most expensive scope we've ever, or third, fourth, most expensive scope we read on this show. So, the thing is, what we like is when we start to see advancements in technology and design. And I think that this optic, when you take into account with the laser rangefinder being built into the objective lens, ocular magnification, the large display, bullet calculator compensator, all of that stuff. This is, if you want to talk about what's moving the needle forward, it's hard not to say that this isn't, or let's put it all together. All of the ACE models, the ACE R,
Yeah.
H50R, this S60R, those are moving the market forward in a very good way because we've already seen some of the other manufacturers notice what they're doing and starting to kind of put some of these features on board too. So it's already having a positive effect. And $8,000 is a lot of money, but it's a lot less expensive than it was just a few years ago.
Oh yeah. So I want to real quick just say a couple quick things. We've gloated over the scope. I do think there's a couple very small things that need to be mentioned. One is the battery door where you put your 18650 battery in. That needs to be, when you close it, you need to ensure that it clicks all the way in and
Like a
locks.
like a double
Most of them
click.
do fine. What did you
Yeah.
say?
It's almost like a double click. Like you need to
Yeah, it
feel
is. It's
the
almost a
first click
double
is
click.
what you feel,
Yep.
and the second click is what you hear. So it's
That's a
almost like
good
a
point. It
yeah.
is, and you need to be sure that it's all the way. I mean, we have had an instance where you think it's locked in and you shoot, and then that door flips open. So you just got to be careful of that. Just make sure it's closed all the way. Again, I don't really think it's a design flaw. I think it's a user flaw. We're in a hurry and we're not getting the door closed all the way. I think that you've also, as Hans already mentioned in the specs. This is not true of all 60 millimeters, but it's true of this one because of the housing and whatever. Most flat top AR style rifles, you're not going to be able to use a standard height mount. So if you're looking for an American Defense mount, or just, whatever your favorite brand is, you're probably going to have to go to that 1.7 inch height or somewhere around there to be sure you've got enough room to clear. Now, if you're putting this on something like a bolt action that has a Picatinny rail added on and you got a little extra clearance over the barrel, the normal height might be fine. It's something you're going to have to get the scope and really do your measurements and figure out. But again, for most people, you're probably going to have to buy a little taller mount, which is just not normal. They're a little harder to find. We don't sell those mounts because they're just not used with very many scopes. I was trying to think if there was anything else on this optic that was a slight negative. Those are the two things I know that I would say kind of watch out for. Hans, do you have anything that sticks
No,
out
I
to you?
mean, we talked about the battery life being right there 6 hours or so,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit over. I mean, it's not, it takes a lot to power a 1280 resolution scope and everything that's going on with it. I don't think that the battery life is terrible. It's not overly impressive, but I don't think that people buy this scope because of battery life or how long a battery life, that
I don't
that's,
think that can't be a valid excuse
Yeah.
of why you don't buy the scope. If your excuse is I was about to buy it, but the 6 hours of standard run time's not enough, I would say there's probably some other
Yeah,
reason.
they're like, I would have bought. I would buy it if it was 8 hours, but it's only 6 hours, so I think I'm gonna hold it. Yeah,
It's kind of like not,
Yeah.
I was going to buy that 3/4 ton truck, but it only gets 15 miles to the gallon. I need to get 17. It's probably not
Yeah.
doesn't make good sense. But no, I would just say this in closing. Very, very, very good scope when you put it all together. I think if you start taking the features away, it's still a great scope, but I think that it really lets the competition sneak in there. If you didn't have a 2560, if you didn't have an ocular zoom, if you didn't take 18650s, but it's just a whole package deal. You've got an image quality that's unbelievable, an identification range, and I want to be clear real quick on the ID range. Hans and I are not advocating that you go out there and shoot 800 yards with this. I don't care, even with the ballistics and the
Come
LRF.
on.
That's not what we're advocating. Anybody
I feel like
knows
my
us
dad
knows.
is lecturing me on what to do.
Well,
right now. Like,
well, I don't want
yeah.
that guy that goes out there and shoots his neighbor's calf at 1,000 yards. Was, well, Hans and Jason said we could.
Yeah.
It's so. But no, I just think that. Again, I get it. $79.99. It's a lot of money. It's not for everybody, but for the guy who he's serious about this and he wants the best. This, like I said, I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to give credit where credit's due to some of the other 1280 optics out there. I still say this is easily. There's not even an argument that this is one of the best 3 thermal rifle scopes ever available to a civilian in the U.S. market, period. I mean, that just in the review right there, that says a lot. You just can't argue. It's not a debate of, well, is my 640 is good? Is my 1024? There's not an argument. You're looking at one of the top ever made thermal rifle scopes that U.S. civilians can buy on the open market, and we're glad to finally have a few of these in stock and hope we get some more. I'm going to make the prediction that this fall, when we finally get some cooler weather, these things are going to be really, really popular again, like they were in the spring and winter of this year.
They've never not been popular at this point. This is the first time since they were released that we're actually been able to put one on the shelf. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. If you put in the comments that you are able to shoot or ID animals at 800 yards to 1,000 yards with your 256 resolution thermal, I'm blocking you. You're getting blocked. I'm sorry. No questions asked, no replies. You're getting blocked. I'm just messing with you.
You're killing me.
I only see that because I hop on Facebook from time to time, and if you saw some of the ranges that some of these people talk about, it is it's unbelievable and scary, but at the same time. Anyway, if you are You can tell we're excited about this scope. We're finally, I'm glad, Jason, we can actually talk about it and put stuff out there and show videos. On my channel, Hans ETX on YouTube. I'll be doing a hunting, got a lot of hunts with it. Do my review over there on that channel. You can go check that out very soon. If you are looking to find more information about what we do, Outdoor Legacy, the reason and purpose behind the Late Night Vision Show, if you're looking to buy an optic, you're at the right spot. We test them all, as Jason talked about. We test them all, use them all. We've been doing this for many, many years. It's something like 86 years of combined thermal experience or something like. No, I'm not.
Making stuff up. We have been doing this for more than a decade. So let's just say
many,
that. Over a decade.
So if you add his time and my time, you can tell by the gray hairs on our face that we've been doing this quite a while.
Not a decade combined, a decade, over a decade independently. Let's be clear there. Yeah, the gray hair is
Baker.
real.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we want to help you decide on an optic, and we have the experience, I think, to do so. To not just say, okay, you got to buy this one, but make recommendations, talk about it. You know what? As great as this scope is, that doesn't mean it's for everybody. There are some parameters that needs to fit in there. First of all is budget. I mean, we don't need to talk about $8,000 scopes if you're looking for a $3,000 scope. It doesn't make sense. But we can find an optic that you're going to be happy with, that's going to fit within your budget, that you're going to feel comfortable spending. The thing that I think gives people the biggest regret when it comes to buying an optic is when they spend more than they felt comfortable spending. Where they get it and they're like, oh man, I spent more than I wanted. And then you start getting buyer's remorse and regret and all that. And that's the worst thing you want to do. You want to get it, be happy with it, and feel like you got it at a great deal. And so the thing you need to do, most important thing you can do when you're deciding on an optic is call us, 877-350-1818. Decide on your budget, draw a line in the sand, and find the best optic you can within the budget that you feel comfortable about. Don't compromise, because in this business and in this product, you could get $500 to death. $500 gets you more. $500 gets you more. Pick a budget, stick to it. We're going to help you do that. We're not out there to stick it to you and sell you the most expensive thing that we got. We want you to be happy with it and feel comfortable with it. And outdoorlegacy.com, 877-350-1818. You can find Outdoor Legacy on Facebook and on Instagram. You can find me, Hans ETX, on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube. And if you haven't already, we do have a website, thelatenightVisionShow.com, where all the videos automatically get posted on there. So if you like checking that out instead of going to YouTube, you will, if you watch the video there, you'll get redirected back to YouTube. But nonetheless, you can find all the shows there. Jason, I've rambled on long enough.
You did. That is okay. Guys, we will see y'all here again next week. We hope, like Hans said, if you're looking for a scope, we'd love to have your business. Guys, y'all stay safe.